What's going on, YouTube Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to do with you guys. This is yet another Civivi knife, the Civivi Knives Statera. I'm not really sure exactly how to pronounce it, as is the case with a lot of the knives that come across my channel, but I handle so many it's really hard for me to figure out the exact pronunciations. But in any case, this is not my knife, and it was actually not sent to me by Civivi. This was provided to me by Ricky. So Ricky, thank you for letting me borrow your knife. Ricky's one of my local buddies, and he's been in a lot of older episodes. He's not around as much anymore, so I haven't been able to do a lot of stuff with Ricky, but we still talk about knives a lot, and this is one of his, so he offered it up. This is a really cool knife, and I definitely have a lot to say about it, so let's go ahead and move on here. First off, of course, we'll get some measurements. Overall length of the Statera, about 8 inches overall. Tip to scale, you're looking at it's 3.75 almost in some places, but up here it's about 3.6 in the blade length. Cutting edge is a little tiny bit over 3 inches. It's like 3.1, yeah, it's about 3.1 inches overall. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1? Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about the Spyderco PM2? PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall, so about the exact same length as a Benchmade Griptilian or Ritter Hogue. And last but not least, the Spyderco Delica. Delica coming in at 7 inches overall. So it's a nice full-size knife, not too big, certainly not too small. Let's go ahead and give you an example of the action here. This has a very, very nice smooth action. One of, if not the best actions I have ever felt on a knife that costs $68. You heard me right. This is a $68 knife. Incredibly smooth, incredibly snappy, awesome detent. Let me give you an example of that detent. Oh, so nice. Big fan of that real quick. Or a big fan of that there. Sorry, I'm distracted by the sound of my dryer letting me know that it is done. There we go. Overall weight on this guy coming in at 3.7 ounces. Let's go to the other side. 3.67 ounces. If you watched my video on the Wyvern yesterday, which is this guy right here, you'll know that the Wyvern weighed about 3 ounces, and that's because the internal liners were sunk into the FRN scales. These are actually G10 scales with sort of a carbon fiber laminate, and the liners come all the way out to the outside, but they are still milled on the inside. So that allows it to be under that 4-ounce mark that a lot of people use as a standard for whether or not it's a good knife. I don't really care. I actually prefer that the liners come out to the outside. I actually prefer a heavier knife as well, but this meets one of my requirements, and it's going to make a lot of people happy in the weight department anyway, so that's fine. Taking a look at the blade here, we do have a drop point blade with a little tiny bit of reverse tanto going on here, just a little bit. But for the most part, it's a drop point blade. You have a nice fuller here that is mostly just aesthetic, but it does look nice, so it's doing its job. This is not really it's not a stonewash. It's not quite a working finish. It's sort of a matte, light, small grained working finish. So it's darker than your typical reflective stonewash finish. As you can see right there, that's about all the reflectivity you're going to get. Really nice, though. In contrast with the scale color, which we'll talk about here in a second, it really looks nice. You've got a nice little thumb ramp up here and a really nice forward choil that's shaped in a way where you're just less you're just less likely to run your finger up on the blade than on the Wyvern. We are going to do a battle video between these two, so I won't compare it anymore because I want to save some of those points for the video. But just a better position all the way around for the choke-up position. This blade is, of course, made out of D2 steel. I think this one actually says it somewhere. Yeah, D2 right there. So really nice. Moving down to the scales, you have a G10 and carbon fiber laminate. Now this knife does come in 3 different configurations. The carbon fiber laminate and the shape of the blade and the finish on the blade are all the same. What's different is the excuse me, color of the G10 underneath. In this case, it's sort of a coyote or like a tan. There's a black one and there's an OD green one. If it were me, I would definitely have gone with the black one because the color of the liners is gold across the board. And then you've got the bronze hardware, which actually looks super nice on this. I actually don't mind that scale color when we're talking about black and carbon fiber. A dark gold or a deep bronze, in my opinion, looks really good up against carbon fiber or black G10, or in this case, both. So I would be fine with that version. In fact, I'm actually considering that exact version for myself. There's a little bit of a fuller right through the scale with a couple of holes there. I don't know, it's just an aesthetic thing. It might offer a little bit of traction. It is kind of where your fingers land. Not much though, it's just there. Taking a look at the hardware, take a look at the pivot. The Civivi pivot has been bronzed, which it's likely steel that's been like heat treated to get that bronze color. Same thing on the hardware on the scales, and it is that nice size that's not as tiny as this crappy size that you see on knives like the Delica or the Rat 1 or a ton of Benchmade knives. I hate that little tiny size. So they did get the nicer, larger size. You have a little bit of a lanyard thing back here. Nice size for $5.50. Those reflective gold liners that do come out to the outside. Some people aren't going to like those. I like them. The pocket clip is stonewashed, or it's the same finish as the blade. And it's that same pocket clip that you see on a ton of different Civivi knives. A little bit of thunder in the background there. And then you've got those bronze screws holding the pocket clip on. It's fine. I don't like skinny pocket clips, but this does its job. And it carries the knife with about that much sticking out of your pocket, so I can't really complain too much. Taking a look at the rear side of the pivot here, there's a little bit of excess milling on that pivot, which just makes it look really nice. I appreciate little fine details like that. That's really, really cool. As you can see, fit and finish all the way around is exactly what you normally would expect from Civivi and or we, whatever you want to call this. Just excellent fit and finish all the way around. Excellent handle materials, excellent blade materials. In my opinion, a really good aesthetic on the handle. And the combination of the hardware, and just the colors of everything, just really good. Ergonomics are just great. Little tiny. These pocket clips create the smallest hotspot that I could see only bothering the most, use-intensive people. If you're going to use this knife for hours, just cutting with the same movement over and over and over again, then the pocket clip might bug you. In that case, you might just take it off. There's not like a heavy aftermarket for, interchangeable pocket clips on knives like this. But I would say at most, it's a minor hotspot. It's almost not even something that I even care about. All the jimping, as far as like where your fingers lock in, it's all in the right place. Got some jimping up here on the blade. I like the little touch where they do the cutout on the flipper tab, and the shape of the flipper tab is just awesome. As is the case with most flipper Civivi knives and WE knives, the landing zone is nice and smooth. The edges are super well rounded off. Nothing sharp anywhere on this knife. Anywhere. This knife, aside from the minor issue with the skinny pocket clip, is darn near perfect for what I would consider a budget knife. Normally, budget to me is like 50 or under, but this knife is so good. You guys heard me talk so highly about the the Bestech Lion. It's at $55. You're getting Contour G10, full steel liners that are unmilled, and a D2 draw point blade. It weighs a little bit more than this guy. It weighs about an ounce more than this guy. This is just a few more bucks. It's like 12, 13 more bucks, and you're getting that carbon fiber laminate, the really nice like bronzing in the hardware, the really nice blade with that nice dark tumbled finish on it, and just this knife is just exceptional. And I'm not the first person to review this knife. In fact, I'm like one of the last. I generally don't prioritize knives just because they're new. You guys heard me talk about this the other day. I review knives that I like, and when I have the opportunity to review them. So if I'm first, I'm first. If I'm 482nd, then I'm 482nd. That's fine. But I'm not the only person, ranting and raving about how awesome this knife is. I've had a chance to watch some other people's reviews before I reviewed this knife, which I don't always do, but I do it if I'm actually interested in the knife for myself. You know, like you guys watching this video right now. A lot of you are watching it because you're like, maybe I kind of want to buy this knife. What does Complex think of it? You know, and a lot of you have already bought it, and you're seeking validation. And after after you get it from me, you'll probably go on to another video to see if there's consistent validation. You know, but you know, I don't want to dance around this too far. This is a darn near perfect knife. It is worth every bit of the $68 that you will pay for it. This thing is just awesome. And by the way, the blade is ground thin enough. It's, again, about the same thickness as the Delica. So the end result on the edge is that it's nice and thin. This is a very slicey blade, very functional blade. Has some reinforcement down there at the tip. You still need to be aware of it. Don't dig it into stuff and try to do a lot of prying. But hey, D2 steel, nearly stainless, carbon fiber laminate on G10, steel liners that come out to the lips that are milled, an excellent flipping action. This knife has better flipping action than knives that I've handled that are well over $200. Honestly, this knife has that good a flipping action, and it's nearly fall shut. It's not really a shake shut. It's like kind of a wiggle shut, and it wants to shut. That's awesome. Getting that for $68, holy cow. I love this thing. It's amazing. If you've been on the fence about this knife, or you haven't even heard about it, but you like stuff like this, pull the trigger on it. If one of the versions sort of speaks your language visually, black, tan, or OD green, which is like the standard of any knife that is released in budget form, sometimes in premium form. If one of those looks good to you, buy it. You'll be satisfied with it. You'll be happy with it, and I'm sure it'll perform really, really well for a long time. Honestly, that's about all that I can say about this. I mean, they nailed it with this thing. Civivi has a lot of models like this that, you know, are just really, really good. Now, this knife, later on in the week, or perhaps this weekend, we're going to talk about with the Wyvern. The Wyvern is a $50 knife, and the Statera is a $68 knife, so there's an $18 difference between the two. Given that they're both D2, they're both Civivis, and they're both about the same size, and they've only got $18 between them, I think they're good candidates for a battle. And I really want to talk about these and make some points. So expect that later on this week, or perhaps this weekend. But anyways, guys, that is truthfully going to be about it for this knife. If you enjoyed this video, or at least found it entertaining, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there is definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.